All right, so the grading plan is actually listed on the cover of the syllabus. It's a pretty liberal grading plan. Sorry, didn't quite get to the answer actually. It's still scheduled stuff. So the exams are scheduled these specific dates. The final exam is on December 12th. Now this is important. So there's 4 exams total in the class. 3 semester exams, 1 final exam. And what I do is I actually will drop the lowest grade out of those 4 exams, even including the final exam. So it's sort of my attempt to give you some incentive to do well early in the course, because if you invest sort of up front and do well in the first exam, starting the first exam, you can actually end up with a grade that's high enough that you can opt out of the final, and then I would simply drop the final. That would be the one I would, for example, I would drop to. It would be technically a 0, so it gets dropped, and the grade gets based on the first 3 in that case. But it also is good because if you blow an exam, I know this course is possibly the first semester that you're here at the university, maybe you're not used to the test style that I use. It's a Scantron-based exam, and some people aren't comfortable with that, and then occasionally I see people not do well in the first exam. Now, if it's a medical reason, of course, we can deal with that separately, but if you just sort of freeze up or choke or whatever on the first exam, you're not dead in the water because you have 3 more chances to do well, and you could actually get an A or an A plus or anything. It's still possible after the first exam. Blow 2 exams, there's a problem. But hopefully that won't happen to anybody. I do allow make-up exams, so if we do need to have a medical reason or other family emergency. I am kind of a little bit more lenient than that actually, because I know a lot of people actually have jobs and maybe working professionals and have to do professional travel. So it's a little more broad than just medical reasons, but I do try to keep it as tight as possible because you can get out of control pretty quickly in a class this size. But I try to be understanding. And then astronomy 112 is a separate class, as I mentioned. Okay, so the grading scale finally, so this is what's mirrored on the first page of the syllabus. Pretty liberal grading scale, really. A's all the way down, starting at 90% there. And if you get 50% or better, you will pass the class. So as I like to say, I don't mean to be demeaning, but there's probably a few monkeys out there that just from randomly typing actually, just because of the random nature of randomness, which is completely random, might end up passing because it's a Scantron-based exam. So, I mean, it's really not a tough class to pass. But I have people fail almost every semester. I think people actually fail. I mean, to me, I almost want to give them that extra credit for failing because you kind of have to really go above and beyond or below and beneath the Call of Duty or something. You have to go out of your way to do that bad. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you work with me, you'll do well. I mean, the average in class is actually pretty high historically. I'm willing to work with you. I do reviews before every exam in class, and I can do even more detailed, in-depth reviews in my office. I can make appointments outside my office hours if necessary. There's no problem with that. So even though the classes are large, when I'm willing to work with you to get you to the point where you get a grade that you want. Oh, one other thing I should mention is that because the grading scale is fixed, and because the class is so large, I know how the curve is going to look. And so I already know in advance exactly how everybody's grades are. I basically don't have to curve it because of the way I construct the exams. So what this means is after 3 exams, you'll be able to look at your average after those first 3 exams. And you'll actually know what you're going to get because there won't be any grading at the end of the course. It's already built into the scale. So after the first 3 exams, you'll look at your online grade, which we have a kind of a secure way of distributing that to you. And if you see a B+, A-, whatever, if you're happy with that, you can be done, and not have to worry about the final exam. So because the class is so large and I know how the statistics are going to work out, you have a really good idea where you stand during the semester. Okay, so what I recommend you do to do well in the class is to download these class notes. Is that flickering or is it just in my image? I don't think I put that in my PowerPoint slide. Okay, right, so the class notes are these sort of versions of my PowerPoint. So I recommend you download those, print them, or at least have them available on a computer that you can annotate and put in these important points I was talking about. I really feel it's important to attend the lectures. I do see attendance start to wane, typically during the semester, which is kind of the way it goes in a big class like this. But those who do come to class do tend to do better. Okay? It's kind of hard to know if that's a cause or an effect, some of those things. Are they here because they're motivated, or did they do well because they attended? But I can't, okay? I have a psychology class, I don't have to worry about that. But I have noticed that there's a correlation between attendance and good grades. So a good idea. I do recommend if you ask questions, even though it's a large class, I try to keep it kind of a casual, somewhat casual atmosphere here, and encourage you to ask questions during class. You really should read ahead the book chapters, as I mentioned. There's review problems in the book, these online practice exams, and I do a review before each exam. Now, something I'm not sure I mentioned yet, just something about the math level, which I'm not sure is even, I guess it is here in the first paragraph. So a mathematical background, including high school algebra, geometry, and trigonometry, is necessary to do well in the course. So, be a little more precise about that. Each of the exams is a 50-question multiple choice exam. They're all 50 questions, including the final exam. Right? Out of those 50, 3 or 4 or so might actually involve using simple mathematical formula, like proportionalities, raising to a power. There's a little bit of trigonometry here and there. But my philosophy about that is that if you can do these math problems, you'll do better. If you can't do them, you're not going to fail. But it is a little bit of value added. If you can do math, you'll get extra points, and it could end up being a difference between one grade and another in the end. But it's not a formidable amount of mathematical content in the course by any means. For example, we don't do anything with calculus. So we draw the line basically at pretty basic trigonometry. Okay, so I've been taught this course for a number of years, not decades or centuries, but years. I've developed what I consider to be a very sophisticated, state-of-the-art question-asking procedure. There's actually 2 options. We have a form, I didn't point this out yet, but you can download it. It's a triplicate carbon copy. You file a pink copy with the department chair, yellow copy with the dean of the college, blue copy with me, and I answer it, as it says here in chronological order. So that's option 1, or option 2 is that you can just raise your hand. And you'd be surprised how many people actually go with option 1. So I always have to say, that's a joke, because the dean gets really irritated getting inundated with these forms. Becker, what are you doing? That kind of thing. I don't want to hear that anymore. So